Strade Bianche starts this weekend and it is one of the most exciting races of the whole cycling season, and I am always looking forward to when this race comes around because of the gravel roads, etc. But one thing that really pisses me off about this race is the annual perpetual discussion created by nonsensical people saying that Strade Bianche deserves to be some sixth monument in the cycling season. And I'm here to explain to you today why that is categorically wrong. To be honest with you, I was thinking about making this video, but then what tipped me over the edge was I was watching GCN's preview of Strade Bianche, and within the first 20 seconds, Dan Lloyd opened his mouth and said that he thinks that Strade Bianche deserves to be a sixth monument.
What I think is the best race of the year, and what should be, in my opinion, a monument.
And quite frankly, that tipped me over the edge, and is now forcing me to make this video to try and explain to people why it doesn't deserve to be a sixth monument. So let's lay out the facts here. Quite frankly, Strade Bianche is not long enough to be classified as a monument.
Think about that. I heard it.
No, there is no category of you have to be over a certain distance. But when you look at all of the other 5 monuments, you will see the following distances. Tour of Flanders, 273 kilometres, Roubaix 256, Liège-Bastogne-Liège 257, Il Lombardia 253, and Milano-San Remo is 294 kilometres. Do you want to know how long Strade Bianche is this year? It's 184 kilometres. It's more than 100 kilometres shorter than Milano-San Remo, and it doesn't even surpass the 200 kilometre mark. There are stages in Grand Tours which are longer than that. Not even that. There are stages in like week-long stage races like Paris-Nice coming up which are longer than this. How can this even be anywhere near a monument when it's not even 200 kilometres? It needs to be way longer to even be considered anywhere near this. And I've also seen some really even more brain-dead opinions saying that Strade Bianche should replace Milano-San Remo as like the monument at this time of year. That has got to be one of the most bullshit opinions I've ever heard in my life. Get rid of Milano-San Remo. Are you absolutely off your shit? It's just bamboozling the kind of shit that people come out with, saying that Strade Bianche deserves to be a monument. It's like, well, you know, distance isn't like everything in this. And it's like, yeah, it isn't. But just because the race has some gravel, looks nice, and like creates some exciting racing and attracts some good riders, doesn't mean that it deserves to be a monument. Because that freaking Heian Interior Pastorio race or whatever that Pogacar won 2 weeks ago, that's got gravel, that's in a nice setting, that has brought some good riders to it. Why not call that a monument as well? Why not just hand monument out to every single bloody one-day race that has any kind of off-road sector? Give it to Paris Tours as well, or freaking Trobro-Lyon. And the most annoying part of all this is that people think that Strade should be a freaking monument before Amstel Gold Race. At least Amstel Gold is at least 250 kilometres, started in like 1960, and that's the other thing, is that Strade Bianche is not old enough of a race to be classified as a monument in my eyes. All these races, or at least most of them, started before the year 1900. They were in the 19th century when they started. They've been through 2 world wars. Like, they've been around for over 100 years. Strade Bianche, do you know when it started? 2007. I'm sorry. There's no way that you can classify it as a monument at this rate. That is literally like turning up in a Fiat 500, which was made in 2007, to a Ferrari Classics showcase and saying that your Fiat 500 is on the same level as their cars. Bollocks it is. It's nowhere near anywhere as good as a Ferrari. And saying that Strade deserves to be a monument is just an absolute insult to all of the monuments. Now, of course, I think that Strade, don't get me wrong, I love the race. I think it's great. Obviously, all these opinions that I've said make it seem that it isn't. That isn't the case. No, I hate the brain-dead people who say that it should be a sixth monument. I don't hate the race. Strade could be a monument in the future, but here's what it needs to do. It needs to add on at least another hour of racing, and it needs to age by about 20 years or so, probably. And then, you know what, maybe it should be considered a monument at that point. I absolutely think that it could be a monument in the future, but but right now it's too short and it's too young to be considered a monument. Like, it's just, it goes against all the things which are like, I know this is a bit of a sketchy word to be throwing around in cycling, but because of what Flamme Rouge said last year, but it's not tradition, you know. I know that is a bit sketchy, but there is tradition in cycling, and saying that Strade Bianche can jump through all of this period of time and then be classified as a monument is stupid, it's brain dead, and the topic of discussion should simply die in a hole.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!